Fam, 2 years? This is the biggest W of 2019. Just when you thought all the W's could be taken and done with for the 2010s, Tekashi comes through with one of the biggest upsets. Well, it's not really an upset. Like, many people with a brain knew that he wasn't going to get anything beyond 5 years. So come on, like, that's half your life given back to you in a matter of minutes, all right? Maybe not half your life, because, I mean, life expectancy these days is a little shaky, a little hazy. But, I mean, it's good for him, considering that I've never seen a Hispanic over 100 years old. And honestly, if he makes a song when he comes out and it says turn 47 to 2, that's going to be one of the hardest bars. I'm sorry. Realistically speaking, though, he's still trash. As a human being and as a person, I still despise this man. Not to the extent that I'm willing to be biased and take this W from him and say that it's an L. Just in the sense that the judge in their explanation to Tekashi, which I looked at as one of the most nerve-wracking things ever. I would have loved to have a stethoscope and put my hand right over Tekashi's heart just to see how fast it was beating, because the way that judge was speaking to him, boy, it looked like he was getting some time, but I knew he wasn't going to get it. The judge did in this instance what I do a lot of times in my videos. We play to the idea of opposing opinions, right? You need to make sure that you acknowledge every angle, even if you have an opinion that's going to differ in the end. You need to make sure that you allow these people to understand that I know why people have an issue with you, and I need you to understand why I have an issue with you, but at the same time, this isn't my final verdict. Because you have to remember, Tekashi played a huge part in the fall of 9 There wouldn't have been nearly as many takedowns without him. Now, some people will look at this and say, wow, he's a rat. He doesn't deserve any time off. And to some extent, I agree with you. I don't think, and I'm not in the frame of mind of believing that because you snitch on one criminal, but you yourself are also a criminal, that you deserve less time than the criminal that you snitched on. However, I'm guessing they're looking at him as a more valuable asset because he helped infiltrate, take down, and destroy an organization that was literally terrorizing that area for so long, that they were trying to get for so long anyway. Huge L for 9 Unfortunately, you do not let people into your upper ranks just because they have money, just because they got a little bit of revenue. That's not the way. Loyalty over money, action over words. You need to let people solidify themselves and prove themselves. And in the event that something does go wrong, you have leverage on them if something like this were to happen. All right? That's why you make him do some of his own dirty work. That way, none of this would have had to happen. But that's neither here nor there. I've gone over that already. The judge said, and I quote, "Shotty carried an AR to protect you from beefs that you initiated, beefs that you started." The judge refused to believe that, you know, because of that made Tekashi an inactive participant. Because a lot of the stuff that happened wouldn't have happened without Tekashi doing whatever he was doing. Just because this is a huge W doesn't mean Tekashi isn't one of the biggest clowns that I've ever seen in my entire existence. I mean, this dude literally paid to have people help him portray a gangster image so he could sell records easier, so he could portray himself as if he were this gangster. But he's not, obviously. Gangster Tekashi definitely is not. But outsmarting 9 he definitely did. Now, I know his fan base is going to give him massive props for beating this, pretty much, because if you go from 50 to 2, just because you still serve time doesn't mean you didn't technically beat your case. I mean, to me, this is him beating the case. He's only in there for another 11 months. That's it. You basically beat your case, my guy. But I'm guessing this is the question that I have after all this. How do you, if you are a fan of Tekashi 6ix9ine and you're a grown-up, right? Because I'm not talking to children right now. If you're a grown-up, you're a fan of Tekashi 6ix9ine and what he's been doing, you're advocating for snitching and everything like that, what stage do you view him as far as your honor is concerned? Like, do you think that when it comes to this, that he is in the right in any fashion? Yes, this is a survival tactic, right? And a survival to the fittest 100%. You need to make sure that you yourself are at the forefront of your mind because nobody else is going to. So yes, I understand Tekashi being scared in this situation. I understand him turning snitch instantly. I understand what he's doing. Though I'm not an advocate for it, I don't agree with it. His instincts fall in line with what the average human being would probably do if given the same situation. However, the judge said something to him that really, it made me think a lot about his perception and how he's going to be viewed after he gets out. Judge said to him, "Mr. Hernandez, the worst part is over. There is a great deal to be admired about you. You learned a hard lesson here. Now, the thing that weirded me out was when he said there's a great deal to be admired about you. And I obviously look at the judge and I look at him like an op. The judge is going to say you're an admirable person just because you help law enforcement for their case and you quote unquote prevented any wrongdoings from happening to any other innocent people. However, you were one of the perpetrators of this image. You were one of the ones that were pushing this narrative. You were funding them. You were aiding them. You were, using them to help your own image. And the only reason you came forward with this information was to save your own ass. Now, some would say he's to be admired because it takes humility and it takes a lot of guts to display a sense of fear for the world to see, despite the image that you've been portraying this whole time. You can either have humility or you can get humbled. I don't know what there is to be admired about a person that will literally sit by and watch wrongdoings happen and then go on to tell those wrongdoings and get the people that he saw doing XYZ in trouble simply because it got too hot in the kitchen for him. After it's all said and done, I don't look at Tekashi as if he's supposed to be admired or if he's anything honorable. The judge did remind Tekashi of his involvement in that minor situation that happened before his fame really took off. Sure, he might not have participated in what the people that were doing to this minor did, but being there and witnessing it and not saying anything until the situation affected you is what I look at in a person that I deem admirable or not. How you say that this person is admirable when they're watching all this go down in front of them and then only say something when it comes to affect them is a little odd to me. If you're going to be a citizen 100% all the way through. If you're going to be a gang member, be a gang member. Be consistent with your actions. Not saying that life is a video game or that life is a movie, but I don't get how admirable an inconsistent person or one that can flip from one side to the other can really be. Okay, and the judge saying this in this way to me really just provokes this ideology or this movement from a person that isn't to be respected. Whether you're a citizen or you're a gangster, I think people earn their respect based off their consistency. Basically, the judge just looked him in his eyes and said, hey, we didn't want you, we wanted them niggas, all right? And thank you for giving it to us. You're an admirable person, man. I really like you. It's just funny to see how far hip-hop has evolved. Like, one of the best songs of all time from NWA is F the Police. And then how we've gone to 2020 almost, and it's like he's going to be congratulated for working with them. It's just funny to see how everything changes. And I don't really want to make this a race issue, but come on, man. All those black dudes are the fall guy. And I knew it was going to happen. So I'm here to ask you, again, where does your morality stand on this? Can you congratulate 6ix9ine for a W for beating this case? Or do you consider it an L? You screwed over a couple black dudes, got your come up, perpetuated a lifestyle that you weren't really living, and then got out when things got too hot, screwing them over, and then living a peaceful life afterward. I might look at it like that. Where does Tekashi go after this? I don't know. It's hard for me to, pinpoint the trajectory of his career beyond this point, knowing that he's going to be watched for 5 years after he gets out, knowing that he won't be able to do too many reckless things or commit any type of crime because he will be watched heavily. I don't know if they're putting him in WITSEC, and I also don't know if they're going to monitor him if he decides to perform at any shows, because I think performing at live shows will put him at a bigger risk. So I don't know if he wants to do that to himself either. It's going to be really hard to see how he manages to have a career that's successful and booming beyond this point, especially given how public and accessible you need to be to have a successful career when it comes to things outside of just your record label. Streams can only take this man so far. YouTube views can only take this man so far. Instagram comedy can only take this man so far. You need to be public and present to make a stamp or have a mark. We'll see if he remains safe, if anybody wants to take the risk to actually take this dude out once he gets out, knowing how heavily he's going to be surveillanced by the FBI. But hey, if you could take out Nipsey for literally no reason, I don't see why this dude would be the exception. But hey, that's just me. Thank you all for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Yikes.